back to that history, dude. So a couple days ago, I put out a video on the Lords of Skelton, the English branch of the Clan Bruce. So in this video, I'm going to go over the Lords of Annandale. I want to keep my videos brief to the singular branches of the family because this is such an extensive family. I'm going to have to make several videos. So, to the point. Robert the Bruce, the first Lord of Annandale and Skelton. He was the adventurer Norman knight that received the lands both in Scotland and in England. And as I have already stated in my previous videos, Adam the Bruce, one of his sons, received the Lordship of Skelton, while his other son, Robert II the Bruce, received the Lordship of Annandale, and he became the second Lord of Annandale. He married Euphemia d'Aumale, who is the daughter of Stephen, the Count of Aumale, and his wife Hawes de Mortimer. And Stephen is the nephew of William the Conqueror through his maternal side. Together they had several children: Bernard de Bruce, Robert III de Bruce, Euphemia de Bruce, and William de Bruce, the third Lord of Annandale. Now, Robert III de Bruce married Isabella McWilliam, who was the illegitimate daughter of William the Lion Dunkeld, King of Scotland. Obviously, it was looking like Robert III de Bruce was the elder brother who was supposed to inherit, but tragically he died before his father. And together with his wife, they did not have any children. So the lordship went to William, who married Christine Nicutrid, who lived about from 1165 to 1238. Now, she is the great-granddaughter of Cospatrick, the first Earl of Dunbar, who died in 1073. She is also a great-granddaughter of Henry I, King of England, who lived from about 1068 to 1135, and she is also a granddaughter of Fergus, the Lord of Galloway. So, she has a lot of family ties, Christine. I also do want to mention Euphemia, who married Ivo Kirkpatrick of Closeburn. Now, I did not do research on Ivo Kirkpatrick's children and descendants. Now, I do know that one of his male direct descendants, about 3 or 4 generations down, was with Robert the Bruce in the Greyfriars Church, and that man was also named Ivo Kirkpatrick. And it was stated by Robert the Bruce that he and his cousin were in that church meeting John Coleman when Robert the Bruce murdered him in the church, and Kirkpatrick finished him off because apparently he did not die immediately from the stab wound. He was on the ground in agony. So here I have a depiction of the killing of John Coleman with Robert the Bruce and Ivo Kirkpatrick. Basically, as I said, Kirkpatrick put John Coleman out of his misery, killing him. Anyways, moving on. William the Bruce, the third Lord of Annandale, as I said, married Christine Nicutrid, and together they had John the Bruce, William de Bruce, another Euphemia de Bruce, who died 1267. And then we have Robert the Noble de Bruce, the fourth Lord of Annandale, who died 1245. Euphemia married Patrick II, the sixth Earl of Dunbar, who died in 1249. Robert the Noble de Bruce, the fourth Lord of Annandale, married Isabel of Huntingdon, who is the daughter of David Dunkeld, the eighth Earl of Huntingdon, who married Matilda Kevliuk of Chester. Through Isabel and her father, who is a descendant of the Dunkeld line, going back to William the Lion Dunkeld. This is where Robert the Bruce, the King of Scotland, or who would become King of Scotland, gains his claim to the royal line of Scotland through this marriage, and the children of this marriage then having the claim to the Kingdom of Scotland. So Robert the Noble, the Bruce, the fourth Lord, and Isabel of Huntingdon together, they had Beatrice de Bruce, who married Hugo de Neville, Robert the Competitor de Bruce, who married first Isabella de Clare of Gloucester, and married secondly Christina de Ireby, and he was the fifth Lord of Annandale, and also had Bernard de Bruce, who was the Lord of Conington and Exton, who died 1268, and also married twice. Married first to Alice de Beauchamp, and second marriage to Constance de Merston. Now, I will make another video talking about Conington and Exton, but I'm going to focus first on the Annandales. Robert the Competitor, with his first wife, Isabella, had several children, as you can see here. Starting from the right, Isabel de Bruce, who died in 1284, married Sir John Fitzmarmaduke, who died 1311. And then Christiana de Bruce, who married Patrick III, 7th Earl of Dunbar. And together they would have children who would be part of Clan Dunbar. Now, something of note. Christiana is the great niece of Euphemia de Bruce. Christiana is marrying Euphemia's son and Patrick's son, the third Patrick of Dunbar. Therefore, Christiana is marrying her second cousin once removed, first cousin twice removed. I'm not sure what the relations are here right now off the top of my head. I would have to look it up. But yes, Christiana is Euphemia's great niece, and she married her great aunt's son. John de Bruce, who died in 1275, William de Bruce, who died about 1269, Bernard de Bruce, who died about 1266, Richard de Bruce, Lord of Riddle. He did not have any heirs, therefore the Lordship of Riddle returned to the Lordship of Annandale, which would then be all united under the Earldom of Carrick, which Robert the Bruce, the sixth Lord of Annandale, became Earl of Carrick through his wife, Marjorie, who was the third Countess of Carrick in her own right. So she was a countess before the marriage. Robert, being married to the countess, then became count, or earl, and the earldom would be passed down to their children. Now, John the Bruce here, he did have an unknown son, the Bruce, and this part is hypothetical. That son would go on to have Sir Thomas Bruce, the first Baron of Clackman, who died in 1358. Now, I'll quickly read this to you guys. There is no confirmation at all on who Sir Thomas's father is or who his parentage is. We do know 100% that David II, we go over here, David II was Robert the Bruce, the King of Scotland's son. Here, David II, Bruce, King of Scotland. So, we know that he was a cousin. But then again, everyone back then were cousins, and they all lived near each other. I mean, you can even go back to when I mentioned how Robert the Bruce was with his cousin Ivo Kirkpatrick, and meanwhile, they're like third cousins. But they still refer to each other as just cousin. There's no delineation of second cousin, third cousin, first cousin twice removed, etc. Now, what's also stated is that David II called Sir Thomas the most senior of Clan Bruce and a direct male descendant of Robert the Competitor, which is this Robert up here. So, some sources have him being the son of Alexander, who died in 1307, David's first cousin, which would be over here. This Alexander. Or this Alexander. Other sources say that's incorrect. There have been claims that he was the son of Edward Bruce, the brother of Robert the Bruce, who became High King of Ireland, or another illegitimate son of Robert the Bruce, or even a grandson of Robert the Bruce through Robert of Liddesdale. He actually was an illegitimate son of Robert the Bruce. But when I was doing the research and I was checking their death dates, some of them do have birth dates that are recorded. The dates just weren't adding up. If Sir Thomas Bruce was supposed to be the most senior of the line, how could he have been younger than David, the King of Scotland? It just wasn't, the math wasn't mathing. So I came to the conclusion that this John the Bruce, who died in 1275, who we do know who, yes, had a son. We don't know the son's name. And then we do know Sir Thomas Bruce, and he was the Baron of Clackman. We just don't know his father's name. To me, I think that's the best that we're probably going to get. But again, this is a whole nother branch. The Barons of Clackman, and they break down to other branches as well that still survive to this day. And actually, a lot of Americans, if you have the surname Bruce, a lot of them came from this branch. They would have immigrated to many parts of the British Empire later on in the 1800s, to India, to Australia, New Zealand, the United States, and even to Russia. I have found some landed gentry who moved to the Russian Empire in the 17 and 1800s. But that is for another video. So here with Robert the Bruce, the 6th Lord of Annandale, who then became the Earl of Carrick and lived from about 1243 to 1304. This is where I will stop the video of the Lords of Annandale. Until next time, this is That History Dude, and thank you.